Let my soul bless Yahweh, the great King. For Jerusalem shall be built up with sapphires and emeralds and precious stones, thy walls and towers and battlements with pure gold. And the streets of Jerusalem shall be paved with beryl and carbuncle and stones of Ophir. And all her streets shall say, Hallelujah, and they shall praise him, saying, Blessed be Yahweh, which have extolled it forever.
Behold, I will lay thy stones with fair colors, and lay thy foundations with sapphires. And I will make thy windows of agates, and thy gates of carbuncles, and all thy borders of pleasant stones. And all thy children shall be taught of the Lord, and great shall be the peace of thy children. In righteousness shalt thou be established. Thou shalt be far from oppression, for thou shalt not fear, and from terror, for it shall not come near thee.
The Lord promised better things for us, okay? Because the Lord, Yahweh Shai, has a favorite people. And he's going to give this favorite people a heavenly kingdom. A kingdom that's blueprinted and formatted and patterned after his mind. How he want a kingdom to be.
The glory of Lebanon shall come unto thee, the fir tree, the pine tree, and the box together, to beautify the place of my sanctuary. And I will make the place of my feet glorious.
A kingdom that's blueprinted and formatted and patterned after his mind. How he want a kingdom to be.
For brass I will bring gold, and for iron and silver, and for wood brass, and for stones iron. I will also make thy officers peace, and thine exactors righteousness.
A kingdom that's blueprinted and formatted and patterned after his mind. How he want a kingdom to be.
And the city was pure gold like unto clear glass. And the foundations of the wall of the city were garnished with all manner of precious stones. The first foundation was jasper, the second sapphire, the third a chalcedony, the fourth an emerald, the fifth sardonyx, the sixth sardius, the seventh chrysolite, the eighth beryl, the ninth a topaz, the 10th a chrysoprasus, the 11th a jacinth, the 12th an amethyst. And the 12 gates were 12 pearls. Every several gate was of one pearl. And the street of the city was pure gold, as it were transparent glass.
A kingdom that's blueprinted and formatted and patterned after his mind. How he want a kingdom to be.
Fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Kakadash, double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS, who rule well, teach well, being great examples towards younger brothers. And peace and blessings and salutation to the whole flake out there pushing his word and truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the whole flake, the believers, the listeners, whom have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashem Al Shai. All right, and what I want to get into, all right, today, this afternoon, they're dealing with another World War III update. It's a lot happening. Things are developing quick, things are unfolding. News is changing, surprises, certain things are happening. And it's a beautiful thing to see, now how far, the Lord allows us to go, we'll see. But we know eventually it's going to lead, all right, to the war that's going to end all wars, all right, and that's World War III being full blown. Okay, now we know we still have the MOTB, all right, which has to be mandated, which we know that these elites have their hand in the mix, to capitalize off this situation, because with the Strait of Hormuz, all right, um, being shut, it's going to affect the global market, and we know that the devils have an agenda to close the economy anyway, to crash the economy anyway, and the war, all right, will be a perfect scapegoat to blame, okay, the world economy crashing because they want to bring in a new currency, okay. So we know that the Lord has this thing playing out, exactly how He wants it according to prophecy, man, okay. And we know that the Lord is going to use this third world war to judge the earth. You see, this third world war is a judgment. This is a punishment that the Lord is going to bring to the earth, man, okay, because it's going to continue to this war is going to continue to flare up, okay, and it's going to do a lot of damage and destruction in the earth, man. A lot of people, all right, are going to be unalive in this third world war, okay. This third world war is going to have, all right, casualties that far surpass the first and second third war, which was in the tens of millions, okay. So what we're getting ready to see is Yahweh Bashim Shai is getting ready to judge the earth via this third world war. That's how America gets its great judgment of missiles is through this third world war. Okay. Yep. And the brother got it. We start off with that. It's the spirit I was in that chapter. I'm gonna read a little bit at the top and then segue to some breaking news, man. Second Ezra's 15 verses 14 and 15. This is the brother GMS the Morns. This is in the GNT, at the water Yabashima Shabakata. Shalom, Yabashima Shabakathum to all you Akim, Wa Akwathium, tuning in. But yeah, let's go here. Second Ezra chapter 15, verses 14 to 15 in the GNT. It says the world and the people in it are doomed. Yeah, this place is doomed. Judgment is here, man. All right, this age is doomed. All right, and we're finna see more missiles flying everywhere, man. All right, and we're gonna keep seeing these missiles flying, and eventually they're gonna put. It's not gonna be conventional warheads on these missiles because they're gonna put these nuclear warheads on these missiles. See, right now it's conventional warheads on these projectiles, but eventually they're gonna put nuclear warheads on these projectiles, man. That's how it is. Okay. It says, read back to it said the world and the people in it are doomed. The world, it said the war that will bring their destruction is very near. There you go. The war that will bring their destruction is very near, man. So the Lord is going to use this war to destroy, all right, a lot of infrastructure and a lot of people at a rapid rate. Okay, that's why these nations have so much destructive power because it's the judgment of the Lord. These are the Lord's instruments of judgment, okay, from the conventional, all right, warheads all the way up into the nukes. Well, they're all part of the Lord's arsenal to judge the earth, man. Okay, so what we're seeing building up is the Lord's judgment building up, man. All right, like I said, these devils, they in the background, they got to play, to try to capitalize off this for their new world order. But the main play is the judgment of the Lord, okay, because it's getting to the point to where the elites, all right, their agendas and their counsels is finna be completely voided out by the judgment of Yahweh Bashim Shai. Okay? And it says the war that will bring their destruction is very near. Nations will arm themselves and fight against other nations, man. And this is what we're seeing right now. Okay, this is what we're seeing right now happening. The nations are arming themselves to fight against other nations, man. Okay, there's more nations, all right, that's bringing themselves into this war. All right, and we'll segue to that video first, since the brother got that precept. The water's all you Akim. This is the hopeful Lake 3, the brother Yaqua. Second Ezra 16 and 18 says the beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and death, all right, and great death, the beginning of wars, all right, and we are in the beginning of wars, there's no doubt. Okay, even if they come to some type of ceasefire on down the line, they're just going to pick up where they left off. Because the war we're seeing now, they're just picking up from where they left off from the 12-day war. And this spirit is a 12-day war. All right, the tribes, man, because the 12-day war between the small hats and Iran, okay, that's what really kicked off. All right, the direct conflict between the small hats and Iran, because before then it was mainly proxy. You might get an exchange here and there, but they never really locked up. But that 12-day war, they locked up. Okay, and then they had the ceasefire, and now what they're doing now is just a continuation of that 12-day war, except it's more intense now. Okay, there's been more damage done in 3 days than in those 12 days, man. So things are intensifying. There's more targets being hit, there's more regions that's involved. Okay, so what we're seeing now is a continuation of the 12-day war. So if this, all right, conflict was to cease, okay, there's so much damage that's been done. Okay, if this conflict was to cease, all it would be, all right, would be a intermission, and they will continue on later on down the road. Okay, so at the end of the day, this is the beginning of wars, and this is the conflict that's going to lead to the Third World's War. All right, to Armageddon, to the Valley of Jehoshaphat. This is their war. Okay, this is their war that's going to draw all these nations, all right, to the Valley of Jehoshaphat. And it says, Second Esdras 16 to 18 again, it said, the beginning of sorrows and great mourning, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? And we know what to do. Man. All we can do is have faith. You know, the Lord gonna have mercy on his people, man. And see, the faith makes us rejoice in these times, man. Faith has us rejoicing in these times of uncertainty, man, where people don't know what's next, man. But we do because, hey, everything is happening according to the scriptures. That's why I say wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of our time, man. So understanding, all right, the prophecy, man, gives us understanding, not only understanding, but having faith in these prophecy, man, and stabilizing us, man. Okay, now let's go here real quick. The brother, I believe it's a brother out of London. He got the accent. You know, I could be wrong, but let's go here. He said, breaking news: France joins the war, sending aircraft, ship, and soldiers to the Middle East. Here we go. Okay, these EU nations getting involved, and you think Russia gonna sit back and let these EU nations pile up on Iran? Absolutely not. Okay, so let's go here. Let's play this a little bit. I think the brother gonna play an announcement from this Mo. All right, Emmanuel Macron. Okay, he's the leader. He's the president of France. All right, nigga got a husband, man. What type of nigga? This why it's time for you Edomites to go to war, man. Okay, it's time for you Edomites to run your ass out there to these missiles, man. Okay, it's a goddamn shame, man. Okay, the nastiness of you goddamn Edom. That's why the earth is nasty because of this nigga, man. You know, goddamn president with a husband, man. This is goddamn crazy, man. But this is the wicked. Okay, let's play this.
Joins the war, sending aircraft, carrier, ship, and soldiers to the Middle East. I say again, France joins the war. This is breaking news. Just came out, sending an aircraft carriers, and soldiers to the Middle East to take part in the war in the Middle East. So let's hit this. Listen for yourself. This is Emmanuel Macron, the French Prime Minister President, who just came off a live TV just now.
Now speaking live, addressing the situation in the Middle East. His address to
the reputation of France, given the ongoing situation. We have defense agreements with Qatar and Kuwait, the UAE. And the UAE has been targeted in a very special manner, and we stand by them and show our solidarity. We have also agreements with Jordan, with Iraq, and also our Kurdish allies. We have worked very fast in order to intercept the different drones, in order to also help our allies who are relying on us. There are also Rafales, aircrafts, and also radars that have been spread during the last hours. And we will continue to do so as much as needed. Cyprus, which is also an EU member, and we have signed a strategic agreement with Cyprus. This country has been also targeted and requires our help. That's why we have decided to send defense equipment.
So you have Cyprus, which is an EU ally, okay, NATO ally, and then you have Qatar and the UAE, okay, which they have alliances with France. So France is saying they're obligated to go help their allies. All right, okay, and France gonna get that toe out the frame too. Okay, France gonna go down there and do what? You see, France ain't no goddamn body, man. So France, they saying they finna join the war. You see, this ain't the Napoleon days. They far from that. Okay, so yeah, France want to go down there and get some of his work. I guess they don't believe it's real on the screen, so they got to go see. So France want to take their ass down there through. Okay, and these Edomite governments, man, is finna get their work. Okay, the Lord got it in for these Edomite governments, man. All right, and they're just walking right into their own death trap. Okay, so France is saying they have the obligation. All right, they're obligated to go help Qatar. And see, because the EU depend on the Strait of Hormuz, because what has happened, Qatar, all right, which is main export is that LNG, that liquid natural gas, which a lot of it go to Europe, but 100% of it has been shut down, so they can't ship. Okay, that LNG, that liquid natural gas, to Europe. See, a lot of this energy that comes out of the Strait of Hormuz goes to Europe. See, Europe gas prices have already went up 40% to 100%, almost double in 2-3 days, because a lot of the oil from the Strait of Hormuz goes to Europe and Asia. Okay, a lot of it don't come to America. All right, so the squeeze is being pushed on these EU nations, man. All right. Now they're gonna go down there with Qatar, okay, and the UAE, and they just gonna be in the way. Okay, they're just gonna be more targets, all right, for Iran. And eventually, if these EU nations try to pile up on Iran, big Russia coming through, man. So this is playing out exactly how the scripture said it was gonna play out, man. Okay, so let's hear him talk a little more, and then we go with something else.
Defense equipment, and also French soldiers will arrive next to European allies and also our counterparts, especially in Greece, so that we can help all these countries. Over the last few hours, we have also continued to monitor the situation, especially in Lebanon, because Hezbollah has made a big mistake by attacking Israel and in Lebanon. As a result, Israel is thinking of a land incursion, and this is also another mistake. Hezbollah should cease immediately those attacks, and also I invite and urge Israel to respect the sovereignty of the Lebanese territories. Also, there are several economic interests that we would like to maintain, especially the prices of oil and gas, and also the ongoing conflict. The Hormuz has been affected, especially that 20% of oil and gas go through this strait. So this is a very important point. The Red Sea also is facing pressure and is also in danger. We are working on forming a new alliance in order to mobilize the needed military equipment and forces in order to make sure that the maritime situation is stable. This is what we've done in the past, and this is what we should do now. And given the uncertainty that we are facing, I have also instructed that, or ordered that, the aircraft carriers and the accompanying teams should move to the Middle East.
So yeah, so you got the French military mobilizing in their region, but this is all scriptures. What's going to draw these nations, okay, to this region, man? We're seeing it. Okay, we're seeing the Lord pull all these nations to this region, man. Okay, and this is what He's finna judge. Let's go here to uh let's get this in the book of Joel. Okay, so these nations are just being pulled into their judgment. All these military forces is being pulled into this war. They're just being set up first. A lot of these, the Lord finna have these nations, all right, just destroy each other in this war. And then Yahweh Shai is going to come and just clear house, man. So this is part of the Lord making the enemies his footstool. Okay, real quick, get into let's get that in Joel. And then we'll segue to another video. This is the book of Joel, chapter 3, and verse 11 says, "Assemble yourselves and come, all you heathen." You see that? So you see the heathen are doing what? They're being brought in. They'll assemble themselves. This is a command. This ain't a suggestion, man. Showing you, all right, hey, with the word of the king, there is power, man. Okay? Ecclesiastes 8:4, with the word of the king, there is power. Okay? So we're seeing our power assembling these nations to judge them, man. It says, "Assemble yourselves and come, all you heathen, and gather yourselves together round about, till the cause the mighty one to come down, O Lord Yahweh Bashim Shai. Let the heathen be wakened and come to the valley of Jehoshaphat, for there will I sit to judge the heathen round about." And how are you going to judge the heathen? Okay, Yahweh Shai is going to come in their chariot. That's why the scripture refer to their chariot as a throne. You go to Revelation, I believe it's 21, it speaks about how their chariot is a throne. It's like to a throne. Okay? So the Yahweh Shai is going to come in their chariot, man, and judge these heathens, man. Okay, with fire. All right? But you go into the word Yahweh Shaphat. Okay, let's get this word Jehoshaphat, which in the Hebrew, Yahweh Shaphat, the Most High's judgment. Okay, the judgment of the Most High. And he's going to judge through who? His son, Yahweh Shai. Okay, let's go here. So it's a compound word, all right, Yahweh and Shaphat. Okay. But when you go into this word Shaphat, okay, it says to what? It says to judge, to vindicate, to punish, because the elect gonna be vindicated. Okay. But these heathens finna be punished. 2/3 of the heathens are gonna be punished. The elect gonna be vindicated. Okay, because we're gonna be in the chariot. Okay, that's gonna be doing the judging, man. Okay, so we're gonna be inside. Okay, the chariot as Yahweh Shai is judging these nations from that same chariot, man. Okay, so the judgment that Shaphat, okay, is gonna vindicate the elect, okay, and punish the rest. You see, and when you go down, I want to get this definition. This main one, it says to execute judgment. Yep, it said the theophanic, all right, advent for final judgment. For final judgment, man. The final judgment of the Most High. Because after this, these heathens will never have militaries. They will never have, authority in the earth again. This is it. Okay? The Lord gonna make a judgment call through Yahweh Shai, and these heathens will never have militaries, okay, or authority in the earth again. Okay? And you Edomites, you're going into captivity along with these heathens, and you're gonna be eradicated. That's gonna be your final judgment, man. Okay, and this is the build-up. This is what everything is building up to. All right, and that judgment has been given to Yahweh Shai. It's Yahweh Shai that's going to come and execute that judgment in the midst of this war. Okay, let's go here to the book of St. John, chapter 5, in verse 22. It said, for the Father judging no man, but have committed all judgment unto the Son. Okay, and that's why Yahweh Shai is coming on that throne of judgment, man. Okay, Yahweh Shai, he's going to come onto the scene in that chariot. That's going to be the throne of judgment. He's going to enter this war. Okay, you see, all these nations are entering into this war. But it's going to be Yahweh Shai. He's going to be the last one to enter into this war, and he's going to come with that final judgment, man. Okay, so let's go here. I got another uh, I got another video. Let's go here real quick. Yeah, man, and then you got, because American and these small heads, they so trifling. This is a trifling ass government, man. But what's happening is well deserved. You Edomites, it's always good to hear bad news for you Edomites. Okay, let's play this real quick.
Donald Trump is panicking as Americans in the Middle East are scrambling, and there is no plan by United States embassies to evacuate them. The market is tanking. The price of oil is surging. Donald Trump has created an utter catastrophe. Let's go through piece by piece, evidence by evidence, what's going on right now this morning on Tuesday. So the U.S. Embassy issued this announcement. They're stating the U.S. Embassy of Jerusalem, that is not in a position at this time to evacuate or directly assist Americans in departing Israel. The following is provided for your information as you make your own security plans. So despite the United States spending billions of dollars on this embassy in Jerusalem and giving billions of dollars to Israel, the United States is unable to evacuate its own people. And you'll remember the message I showed you yesterday where the various U.S. embassies throughout the Middle East told everybody, evacuate now, get out of the Middle East, try to find a commercial flight. Good luck. Try to find a commercial flight. You do realize that Iran is now striking all of the surrounding airports in the Middle East. You do realize that Donald Trump has engulfed the Middle East in about what the missions or objectives are. And then last night or yesterday afternoon, Donald Trump and his regime officials and sycophants, whether it was Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, or whether it was MAGA Mike Johnson, they're saying the reason that we had to invade and attack Iran is that Israel was going to attack Iran first.
So they're telling American citizens and these embassies, look, find your own way out. Because they usually send special force, operations. They usually put together, special force logistics and operations to, during times of war to go rescue, all right, those U.S. citizens out of the war zone. Okay, but this time they saying, look, nigga, find your way out. Do what you got to do. And it just shows you, and what Trump is showing you too, is that the government doesn't care about you people, man. They don't care about you going. They show you every day they don't care. Okay? They got a new world order agenda. Okay? And then it ain't working out for them like it, they running into these scrapes. So the scriptures say they should be in scrapes. So this nigga is frustrated, man. He ain't got time to come rescue you niggas, man. He got, you see, this nigga got the surprise of his life with Iran. He didn't know them niggas had all that over there. Okay, so he trying to figure that out. He got Russia and China still in the background because you gotta think the West is like, damn, Iran doing this by themselves. So what the hell is China and Russia joining in? Shit, what's this gonna look like? So this nigga got a lot on his mind, man. So he done told y'all, these American citizens in these embassies, man, shit, y'all nigga find the nearest airport. Find your airport that ain't blew up. Get your ass back yourself, man. So it's just terrible, man. All right, y'all got a trifling government, Okay, and you Americans, okay, you were cheerleading, all right, a few months ago with Venezuela. Now, okay, you're getting embarrassed, man. Okay, and this and the Lord is when the scripture say, "I will put over thee a cruel Lord." Okay, Trump don't give a damn, man. All right, the technocrats. He's from a different group of Edomites, man. These technocrats, man. Okay, you're just data to them. All right, and most of you in a way are these data centers anyway. Okay,
And then Iran would retaliate against the United States. That's why we had to attack Iran to do regime change, but it's not regime change now. They're trying to find someone in the Islamic Republic who would be friendlier to Donald Trump. And meanwhile, there's nobody who wants to have that role. I mean, they turned the Ayatollah, who was 85 years old, who was unpopular in a lot of areas, like they allowed him to, become like a martyr now amongst the Shiite community, who's out there, chanting death to America right now at these mass protests. I mean, this utterly backfired. They didn't think this through. The Ayatollah was old anyway. The younger population was, growing and protesting and saying they wanted democracy. And then the Trump regime betrayed those protesters early in January when they were out on the street. And Trump says, "I've got your back," and then didn't do anything. And 30,000, 40,000 protesters got massacred. So, of course, they're terrified to go out right now and protest or do things. Just take a look at what's going on throughout the Middle East as the United States tells its own citizens, good luck. We wish you the best. Try to find a commercial airport somewhere, but we can't help you. Thick black smoke is pouring on Tuesday from the port of Fujairah in the United Arab Emirates, located on the Gulf of Oman, as one of the UAE's only oil terminals south of the Strait of Hormuz, following a drone attack this morning on oil storage tanks. And other infrastructure at the port of Iran by Iran is blown up. I mean, take a look at it. I'll show you video right here of an Iranian one-way attack drone slamming into the port of Duqm in Oman this morning as Iran continues to launch both drones and missiles at the Gulf nations and countries across the Middle East. Here's more photos of the Salalah port in the Omani Dhofar Governorate. You can see these economic areas being hit by Iran in retaliation for the U.S. strikes. Take a look right here. Israel is now evacuating its embassy staff from the UAE, including Dubai and Abu Dhabi, back to Israel. They did that in a special operation. More Israel strikes, of course, in Iran. What we learned took place earlier today. The building housing Iran's assembly of experts in Qom was entirely destroyed by several strikes from the Israeli Air Force, with senior Israeli officials stating that the target was a meeting of the Iranian Supreme Council, where government and religious leaders were gathering to choose a new supreme leader today. Israel struck while they were counting the votes for the appointment of a new supreme leader. So Israel and the United States killed the Ayatollah, and now there was this meeting, what's called the Assembly of the Experts, in the city of Qom in Iran. And while that meeting was taking place and you had this assembly of experts, this council of about 90 senior clerics, which was going to be electing Iran's new supreme leader, Israel and the United States struck the building where the counting of those votes were happening. And I suppose the plan by the United States and Israel, although I wouldn't call it a plan, is what, just to kind of kill everybody. And if you kill everybody, then you think that there will be sympathy in the population. I just think it's important to note that, we all should agree. I think that the Ayatollah was terrible.
So you have this back and forth, all right? Americans are stuck, in their region. People are still stranded on vacation. All right, the small hats are still trying, to do some type of decapitation. They struck, this council of elders, amongst the Iranians who was going to vote in a new supreme leader. So you have this war constantly intensifying. French, has vowed to send, mobilize its troops. Okay, its fighter jets and its aircraft, Okay, so France is committed to the war. Okay, so when you go from, let me see, I think he might say,
Price of gasoline yesterday saw its largest single day rise. As I mentioned at the outset of this video, gas prices, oil prices are surging. The national average price of gasoline yesterday saw its largest single day rise since March 4th, 2022, rising 12 cents a gallon. We know that with Iran severely limiting, if not closing at some points, the Strait of Hormuz, that is impacting the ability to get oil, to get the crude, to get the liquefied natural gas that is out of the region. It's actually been a huge help to Russia because the Russia oil, Russia crude, Russia is now in higher demand. So Russia, which was struggling economically, is actually benefiting from this. I've seen people say it's like Putin, said to Donald Trump, "Hey, you know what would be really helpful as we're financially struggling here? Can you do this for us as well? That would be fantastic." As our editor-in-chief, Ron Filipkowski, says, I can't stand all of this winning. Look, the market this morning opened up horrifically. You basically had all the indexes down about.
Yeah, so there's going to be a ripple effect with these gas prices, man. We're going to see, gas prices. It's going to be not as effective in America as it is in the Europe. So America eventually going to see gas prices rise if this continues, the way that it's trending. If this straight stays shut down, we can see, gas prices, all right, creep up, you know, and then it's also with these elites, it's a chance for them. All right, they can use this war and make gas prices skyrocket, to destabilize society. Okay, because they want everybody broke and begging, when it comes time to implement this MOTB. So this will be another way to put strain, all right, on the population by using this as an excuse, because really technically American gas prices shouldn't change a whole lot because America gets most of its gas from the Western Hemisphere. Okay. But these devils being the devils, they can use this, to spike those gas prices, to put more of a squeeze on the people, man, because they want people broke and desperate. Okay, when it comes time to enforcing this MOTB. Okay. Now, so let's go from here. I want to get this video as well. I got one more. I'll make this super long. Okay, Scott gonna go into some things. So let's see the brother got. Yep. So this is the brother GMS the Barnes, Job 18:11 said, terror shall make him afraid on every side and shall drive him to his feet. Okay. So Esau is not comfortably sitting down, trying to put this new world order together. No, this nigga has a lot to do in a short amount of time. Because remember, this devil, he wants to try to have this up and running before the Howard shot comes. His thing is to get this thing up as quick as possible, man. Okay? This devil, he's on the time sensitive assignment. You see, time is a factor with this devil. Okay, and he's all over the place. And then he has to listen to the prophets every day, telling him what's going to happen and what he's going to do, what these other nations are going to do. He got to deal with that. And then when he do make the move, it happened exactly like the scriptures say. So this nigga is weary, man. He got to deal with, with people, the working class coming against him. He got to deal with, these nations getting riled up. Okay, these nations have made themselves strong, and you see, he got to deal with the prophets. He got to deal with. He don't have enough energy for the data center. He don't have enough resources to get the data centers like he want. So he's running into a lot of scrapes, man. Okay, so he's having a hell of a time trying to get this thing off the ground, man. So this nigga just gonna lose it. Okay, expect Esau to snap soon, man. You see. So let's play this. jump through a little bit of this. Let's go here.
The totality of America's military infrastructure in the Middle East. Every base has been hit. And by the time this is finished, every base will have been destroyed. But it's not just the bases. The Iranians are showing that they have inside information about how the CIA operates, striking a hotel in Dubai, killing, by some reports, 6 senior CIA officers, striking a hotel in Bahrain, wounding Department of Defense personnel that are there. They aren't bombing civilian targets. They're bombing command and control targets, legitimate targets. They're hitting targets that show insider information. For instance, when they strike a warehouse in a port facility in Qatar, that warehouse just happened to be the one that signed the contract last week with the Department of Defense to hold military equipment. Boom, dead. They're sinking.
And then showing Iranian intelligence. This is another thing that's surprising to the West, because everybody, boasts on, the Mossad intelligence and, the U.S. intelligence, which, of course, they're going to have the best intelligence because they got the biggest network and the most technology. Okay. But I'm more impressed with someone doing it with far less resources. Okay. So they hit a warehouse that just signed the contract, okay, with the West to house certain weaponry. Okay. So it's like they know exact location, exact agreements. Like Iran is like, damn. Plus they linked up with China and Russia too, so they have that network now. So now Iran has a bigger network, okay, that they linked up to with intelligence, to where now they, okay, have the insight. You see, America's used to having so much advantage when they go to war. Okay, they're used to having all these advantages when they go to war, but now the playing fields is even. So now Iran is showing that they got this intelligence. They got intelligence now. Okay, and then they can put a missile on target. Not only do they have the intelligence, but they can put missiles on target. Okay, so let's play some more.
Striking ships. Now, they're paying a price. There's no doubt about it. I mean, this is a war being waged by two of the most sophisticated militaries in the world, Israel and the United States. And we are destroying things in Iran. But we're not destroying that which we think we're destroying. We're not getting the effect which we think we're getting. And all we're doing is expending ammunition that we don't have. And at some point in time, we are going to run out of ammunition. And the Iranians are not going to run out of missiles. And when that happens, we lost the war. We lost the war actually on the first 6 missiles that hit Iran, because those missiles hit Ali Khamenei. That was supposed to trigger regime collapse. Instead, it triggered the rise of the Islamic Republic. I don't wish my country harm. I don't wish any harm to American service members, but our president is a damn fool, and he has taken us down the path of defeat. And unfortunately, the United States is going to lose this war, and because it's an illegal war of aggression, perhaps it's one that we should lose. I'm just hopeful that we can bring this thing to an end with minimal loss of life, maximal penalty. I mean, I think by the time this is done, by the end of the week or so, the United States will have suffered over $100 billion worth of infrastructure damage. And that's a good thing, because by destroying the American military infrastructure in the Middle East, we ensure that America won't come back. And by demonstrating to the Gulf Arab states that America cannot provide a security shield, that we are a toothless paper tiger when it comes to actually defending people, they're going to be looking elsewhere for their security. And what that means is they're going to be seeking peace with Iran, not war with Iran.
What do you make of the...
It's all prophetic, okay? It's all prophetic, man. Everything is leading to all the alliances spoken of in the scriptures, man. Okay? And Iran is showing that these Gulf Arab states, that look, America is unreliable, man. Okay? See? This is very strategic, how the Lord got this thing playing out. All right? And these Gulf Arab states, they finna start dealing with Russia. I think Russia, I look into it, Lord, we'll get into it in the morning. But Russia is supposed to be talking to all these Gulf Arab states about this war, about what's going on. Okay, what you think they're gonna talk about? Okay, So now we finna see these Gulf Arab states, they finna switch, they finna flip. You see? Because they tired of being punching bags. After 3-4 days of being a punching bag, all right, some got to change. Okay? So let's go here. We'll jump up a little bit.
U.S. bases, which I don't even understand, because in his opening speech, he said that they expect that there's going to be U.S. casualties. So, but how could Iran possibly escalate the situation further? I mean, today we saw Saudi Aramco, I think like one of, if not the biggest refineries, was hit. We saw Qatar has shut down their production and export. Is there something I'm missing? It seems like they kind of went with some of the most nuclear options to start things off after U.S. started off with the ultimate nuclear option.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, this is an existential war of survival for the Iranians. I guess that's repetitive because if it's existential is by definition a war of survival. So forgive my improper use of the English language. But the Iranians, yes, for instance, the Strait of Hormuz has been shut for the first time. Iran's threatened to do this in the past. This time they did it. But, that's a simple on-off switch, meaning that the moment the Iranians want traffic to go through, they just hit the on switch and here you go. If they want to shut it down, hit the off switch. What they're demonstrating is they could do this at will. If you remember the Fifth Fleet in Bahrain, which Muharraq base doesn't exist anymore, but hey, too bad to be you. But the Fifth Fleet was saying, we can keep the Strait of Hormuz open anytime. They try to shut it. We're coming in like greased lightning. Well, that's been proven to be a lie. You can't. The Iranians have shut it down. There's not a damn thing. The other strikes, though, for instance, the Aramco strike, when you look at the satellite imagery, it did damage, but it did limited damage, and it didn't hit critical places. The Iranians have shown that they have the ability to be pinpoint in their accuracy. I mean, when you fly a drone into the room where the CIA guys are, you're pretty damn good. And what they hit were targets that would burn, but not targets that would destroy, targets that could be contained. And so they sent a message to Saudi Arabia. We will take it all down, every single for you to tell the United States, don't touch our energy infrastructure. And it's probably up to stop this war. But even if you don't want to stop this war, if they touch our energy infrastructure, you're dead. Everything will go down. We just proved to you we can hit your most sensitive facility, and there wasn't a damn thing you could do about it. It's the same thing with Qatar. They were put on notice. Qatar makes money off the sale of gas. That's it. Giant gas station, liquid gas station. And Iran sent a signal, we can shut it all down. We can kill everything. And so out of safety precaution, the Qataris shut it down. But now they have to be careful because they were the ones pounding the desk declaring that, we're going to strike back, we're going to fire, and they're shutting up because they understand the consequences of having a big mouth when you're I have to be careful because I'm very angry at the Gulf Arab states, very angry at them. They have betrayed everything. But now they're paying the price, and I have no sympathy for them whatsoever. Qatar just has to shut up and basically tell the United States, leave Al Udeid, you're never coming back. You're not welcome here. And that's what all the Gulf Arab states have to tell the United States in order for this conflict to end. You're not welcome here anymore. Iran must purge the cancer that is America from the Persian Gulf.
Purge the cancer, man. Goddamn America, cancer, man. What's that, Ciroc 10 to 10 if a brother want to post it? Okay. Yeah, bro, I gotta watch that, bro. Lord, I can tap in there tomorrow. But that makes sense, bro. But that was the whole intent. That was the whole intention why Iran was doing what it was doing, to cause friction. Because they knew America was gonna choose them small hats over them Arab states. Okay? They knew they were gonna choose to defend them small hats, man. And they just done left these Arab states defenseless. That's why the French said they had to go down to the UAE and Qatar. The goddamn French. Okay? The French had to come from, cheese and wine. Cheese and wine eating niggas, man. Okay? Coming to the Middle East is like they gonna defend something. because America has left these Gulf Arab states stranded, man, because they didn't know Iran was gonna come back like that. Okay, they didn't know Iran was gonna come back like that, man. They thought it was gonna be this low intensity tick for tat. No, man, the folk put pressure out there, full court press, like the brother Bayan Yashala said, full court press. Okay, in the Middle East, in the region, man. Okay, and they chose, all right, to put all their assets to defend Israel, and then that's not even working, man. So it's just all downhill for Esau, man. Okay, this the brother Hopeful Lake 3, the brother Yahweh, Jeremiah 15:10, it says, and the Chaldeans shall be a spoil. It says, and Chaldea shall be a spoil, and all the spoil shall be satisfied, said the Lord. America finna be spoiled, man. All right, and they getting their ass ran out that region, man. Okay, they getting all their infrastructure obliterated. So that's Trump's favorite word. Okay, all their infrastructure is being obliterated. Okay, their region is becoming extremely hostile. All them Shiite Muslims in their region are becoming extremely hostile. Okay, over 300 million Shiite Muslims. Okay, which you killed their Ayatollah. So now they feel some type of way. Okay, so now, all right, what we're seeing with America, man. All right, America and the small hats are being looked at as the problem of the earth, man. The Lord got the microscope on America and these small hats as the problem of the earth. And everybody finna point their missiles in that direction, man. Okay, when this all is said and done, as we get further into this conflict, all right, the common theme is gonna be, nigga, the reason we here is because of these niggas, man. These nations gonna start coming to the conclusion, man. The reason we in this situation is because of these niggas, man. Okay? So when you go here, it's Sirach 10:10, it said the physician, this is the brother GMS Des Moines, it said the physician cut it off a long disease, and he that is today a king, tomorrow shall die. Okay? So Esau Edom is that disease that's getting ready to be cut out, but he's been isolated. Because before you cut out a cancer, you have to isolate it. You have to isolate the tumor. Okay, then you can cut it out. And this devil is being isolated, man. Okay? So now we finna see a big switch with these Gulf Arab states, man, and they finna go over to the kings of the East, man. All right, because they gotta play their role as the dragons of Arabia, man. All right, and then they're seeing I think he's gonna go into it. All that money that they spent on American military hardware, and that shit ain't worked. I think they Qatar spent $2 billion on American defense systems, and they getting their toe up. Okay. You see, $2 billion just threw in the air, man.
That has to be a condition of peace, because if you don't, that cancer will continue to, create the conditions for future conflict with Iran. That's all they exist for, is conflict with Iran. So if you want peace in the Middle East, Iran resides there. They're not leaving. It's the foreigners that are there. America, they have to go. We have to go. And I think that's what Iran is seeking to do, to basically destroy the infrastructure. Because imagine now, let's say the war ends and the president's going to tell Congress, hey, by the way, I need $100, $150, $200 billion to rebuild the infrastructure that Iran just destroyed. Oh, yeah, and if they want to destroy it again, there's nothing we can do to stop them because, gosh, they got missiles that can hit anything and everything. So we're done in the Middle East. I believe that this is the death knell of America's presence in the Middle East. And when we withdraw from the Middle East, understand what that does to Israel, because Israel will no longer have the American shield. So Israel will also have to curtail its greater Israel ambitions. And it also sends a signal to the Gulf Arab states. It's time for you to stop kneeling before America and Israel. It's time for you to stand up on your own 2 feet and assert actual sovereignty. You will thrive by having Iran. You will die by having war with Iran. And that's the other signal that's been sent here. For all the money that these Gulf Arab states have poured into their defenses, buying America's money, making American defense industry rich, it doesn't mean anything, because they got nothing to stop the Iranians. Nothing. Ask United Arab Emirates, $2 billion they spent on air defense. And I think in 2 days, they're going to be out. They got nothing. They'll be done. And at that point in time, they're fair game. They can't defend themselves, and Iran can level everything. And you're going to start to see the United Arab Emirates saying, yeah, America, why don't you move over there? And don't come back here. We're not doing this anymore because America can't defend them. America simply cannot defend them. Oh, and that last thing, boots on the ground. You're talking to a guy that actually participated in the largest boots on the ground.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. So America is losing the shootout. Okay, America, these small heads, they're losing the shootout with missiles. So now everybody's saying, well, what about boots on the ground? See, people don't know how war works. Okay, they don't know the logistics of how this works, man. It's way easier said than done. Okay, this is not Iraq. This is not Venezuela. Okay, this is not Vietnam. Okay, this whole boots on the ground like that's gonna make a difference. It's gonna be worse. Okay, what do you think? The American full of Rambos? Okay, you look at the American military roster. What boots you gonna put on the ground? Eve, Travante, all right. These Peter Griffin, Edomites. What kind of lineup you think you got with boots on the ground? Okay, well, let's just hear him talk about the logistics.
Operation in modern history, Operation Desert Storm. It took us months to flow in these troops, and we flew them in a permissive environment, meaning we were landing at airports that were not being shelled or shut down. We were docking at ports that were not being attacked. We aren't going to get any troops. We're not going to get any significant boots on the ground. It would require a assault from the sea to seize either Chabahar or Bandar Abbas. You're also talking to a guy that actually planned assault from the seas to seize Chabahar and Bandar Abbas back when that was one of the things that we were training to do in the mid-1980s through the Rapid Deployment Force. We don't have the resources to do it. So Donald Trump is just blowing smoke at you. He's lying through his teeth. We simply can't. In order to do this, we would have to delay this war by 9 months at a minimum. And we've already engaged. The Iranians aren't stopping. Even if we pull back and stop bombing them, they will continue to strike until everything is destroyed. There will be no compromise. This is an existential war of survival. Only one winner emerges from this.
Talk of special forces. I know they're
about the special forces. I'm gonna get straight to the point. All right, America, they're trying to find some up, because now they think that the American special forces can go in Iran and just take down the whole country like this a movie. All right, a lot of that American, special forces shit, that shit for this Hollywood. Okay, it don't work like that. He's gonna explain it. Okay. So now they're like, what about the special forces? They're trying to find some hope somewhere. Okay. They're like, well, what boots on the ground? Well, what about the special forces? What about nigga? It's over. Nigga is over. He lost. Okay. It don't work like that. You can't. Where are you going to deploy them to? Because in order to put boots on the ground, you got to get the boots close to Iran. Where are you going to do that at? Okay, where are you going to get those boots close to Iran? Now, Iran is a big country, so it's easier to, get in. Okay, but getting in, even if you do get in, then what? Okay, so let's play this.
Enemy's going to collapse. There's no reason to maximize risk. But now, just like with the Gulf War, where General Schwarzkopf rejected the deployment of Delta Force early on, he was forced to allow them in around February 6th because we weren't killing Iraqi Scuds, and it became a very politicized problem that if we couldn't kill them, Israel would intervene, and that would be the end of the coalition. Here we have a situation where we're not killing Iranian missiles. They're continuing to launch, and we need to shut them down or we lose our Gulf Arab allies, and Israel becomes desperate. And so what Donald Trump probably is speaking about is the introduction of special operations forces on the ground in Iran to do missile hunting I hope they don't go in, because I'll just give them a little lesson from history. They know, but the American people don't. Every Delta Force insertion was compromised at the moment of insertion, and every team ended up running for their lives. The idea that Delta Force was in there doing really sexy stuff and blowing shit up and all this kind of stuff just wasn't true. They were running for their lives the entire time. They never rested until the war ended. That's just a statement of fact. And the same thing with the British SAS. I mean, by the end of the first week and a half, the headquarters of SAS thought that they had lost guys because they were all running. They had been compromised. They were running for their lives. Many of them were captured. Many of them were killed. This is the reality of operating on the ground in enemy territory. And the Iranians are nobody's fools. You may think it's wide open desert, but that's the other lesson that Delta Force learned is it ain't. There's nothing wide open about it. You land and there's the goat herder with his goats staring you straight in the eye. Or there's the Bedouin running around, looking for water, staring you right in the eyes. And this will happen if you go into Iran. They will stare you in the eyes. Now you're going to big country, and the Iranians are pretty damn good, and they're going to kill you all. So my advice to Mr. President, to the commander of Joint Special Operations, don't do it. You've already lost this war. You're not going to win this war. And putting special operations forces on the ground just ensures that they're going to die in addition to what other casualties are going to there. They're not that good. I mean, they're good, but they're not immortal. A bullet kills them just like it kills anybody else. They operate by stealth. They operate by audacity. They operate by speed. But when you're on the ground, behind enemy lines, it doesn't matter if you have a Pinzgauer or whatever the hell vehicle they have now. They will run you down and they will kill you. And they will shoot down your helicopters and they will shoot down your airplanes. Don't do it.
Yeah, you tell that Edomite in an interview, he thought the special forces were supposed to make a difference. The one that's interviewing, he looking like, damn. Ain't no good news for America, man. All right? You don't give a damn what try to gimmick you try to pull out the hat. It's over. Okay? It's over. If brother want to post that Job 14 and 5. All right? You don't reach the end. You see? This is the brother, the hopeful leg 3, Jeremiah 49 and 15. For lo, I will make thee small among the heathen and despised among men. Okay? And small goes into insignificant, man. All right? And these devils are being made small, man. Okay? Everybody in the world that has a problem with the West, man, you best believe they're emboldened, all right, to try the West now, man. Okay? Iran has taken away all right, invincibility. That whole, that whole aura of being invincible. Iran has taken that away, man. Okay? Now they seeing the bully bleed. Okay? They seeing the bully bleed. Okay? And this nigga can run. Okay? So, yeah, man, we're in the time of a new era. And see, everybody trying to figure out what's next, because people are already counting America out. So they trying to figure out, okay, what's next? Well, the kingdom is next. That's what's at hand. Okay? And we can end it on that. I believe that's Luke 20, 22 and 28. Bible Shah. 22, 20. Let's get that. Might be a couple. Let me see. Might be a few I want to get in there. And we'll end it with that. But you get the book of Luke chapter. No, man, ain't no solution for America. We will have healed Babylon. And you say, well, let's put boots on the ground. Okay. Put the special forces in. All right. Is it Luke? Yeah, let's get Luke chapter 20, 22, verses 28 and 29. And I think Luke 21 and 28 might be what I want. Might be what. Yeah, Luke 21 and 28. Yep. So let's go here. This is the book of Job. All right, chapter 14, verse 5. And it says, seeing, this is brother Ataz 1, hope for 144. Seeing then his days are determined, the number of his months are with thee, thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass. So the devil done hit a wall. Okay, this nigga just done hit a wall, man. Okay, and from here on out, it's gonna go bad for this nigga, man. Okay, he's coming to that bound that he can't pass. Okay, so the Most High is putting brakes on this nigga, man. Okay, because he got a set bound that he ain't gonna go across, man. Okay, so the Most High is already, all right, putting the brakes on Esau and everything he got going. So things don't work in his favor no more. There's a time for this nigga to win, and now we in the time for this nigga to lose, man. Okay, we in the time for this nigga to lose, man. All right, so let's see, yep. This is Isaiah 14 and 10. Brother Jim, as the morning says, all day shall speak and say unto thee, art thou also become as weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? Yeah, Esau looking sizable now. He ain't looking like Goliath anymore. Okay? Iran got America looking regular as hell. Okay? Mediocre as hell. Okay? America look like a 72 overall out there, man. 72 overall creative player, man. All this 99, 102, nigga looking regular as hell, man. Okay, nigga looking tribal right now. I don't know if that's a word. Nigga looking tribal, goddamn. You know, this is verse 11. It says thy pump is brought down to the grave. Yeah, all that, yeah, that rah shit. Okay, you see Trump press conference. He ain't looking at. He ain't got the pep like he, you know. Nigga telling y'all here, some more people might die. You know, it's just what it is. We outside, niggas might die, man. You know, next question. Nigga ain't talking about obliterating, and you know. Yeah. And it says, in the noise of thy vows, the worm is spread under thee, and the worm covered thee, man. So this place is just crumbling, man. The pride is gone. America is finished. Okay, America's a dump, just waiting on missiles to finish it off, turn it to a desert. Okay, your leadership is a joke. And the scriptures say, woe to thee, O land, when thy king is a child. So you got a child, okay, in rulership. So it's over with, man. Okay, but this is all good news for us. That's why you go to Luke 21 and 28. It says that when these things begin to come to pass, it's like, yeah, Luke 21 and 28, this is brother Yaakov. And when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh. Okay, our redemption draweth nigh, man. So we need everything to keep going like it's going. Everything keep doing what you're doing. Okay, French, you know, tighten your ass up, nigga. We. All right, put that wine and cheese down. Okay, strap your boots on, nigga. Okay, so Iran can knock the boots. Okay, well, yeah, man. Hey, we're gonna have fun with this, man, because this all working our favor, you know. So Lord will, you know, you brothers, all right, and you sisters edified. Till next time, I say shalom, kwam yashala, ba soon, shalom.